What if I told you that a lot of how we think about money and work, well, what if it all broke on one specific day, in one specific year? That's the idea we're digging into today.
You ever feel like that? Like you're just working harder and harder, but your money just doesn't go as far as it used to? It's like you're on this treadmill, and no matter how fast you run, you're not really getting anywhere.
Okay, so the source material we're looking at for this explainer, it argues that feeling is not a coincidence. It's not just you. It's not bad luck. It's built right into the system.
And get this, it even points to an exact date when this all started, like a specific day on the calendar, when the rules of the game for the entire financial world just changed.
And that date is August 15th, 1971. According to this perspective, that's the day everything shifted. So the big question is, what exactly happened on that day?
Well, it all boils down to something that's now known as the Nixon Shock.
Okay, so before 1971, the US dollar was tied to something real, physical gold. You could, in theory, trade your dollars for a set amount of gold. But on that day, August 15th, President Nixon announced and this is the key word, temporary stop to that. He closed the gold window. Well, that temporary move, it turned out to be permanent. And just like that, we shifted from money backed by a physical thing to money backed by, well, a government's promise. This is what we call the fiat era. Now, it's important to say a lot of economists argue this was needed for flexibility, but the source we're digging into today sees it very differently. It frames this as the moment things went wrong.
So, okay, the rules of money changed. So what? What did that actually do in the real world? Well, according to the source material, it drove a giant wedge right between how hard we work and what we get paid.
Yeah, the main argument here is that this one decision basically severed the link between work and wealth. The connection between creating value and getting rewarded for it, it was just broken.
And this chart, wow, this really shows you what they're talking about. Look at that first bar. Since 1971, worker productivity has just shot through the roof. We're way more efficient, creating so much more value. But then look at the second bar, real wages. That's what your money can actually buy. It's flat. It's barely moved. So the big, obvious question is, if we're creating all this extra wealth, where did it all go?
The source points to something called the Cantillon effect to explain this. Think about it. In a system where new money can just be printed, who gets it first? Well, it's usually governments and big banks, right? They get to spend that new money while prices are still low. But by the time that money works its way down to everyday people, to us, prices have already started to go up to reflect the new supply. So our purchasing power goes down. It's like the wealth gets skimmed off the top before we even get a chance.
And this completely changes how you think about inflation, right? The argument isn't that your groceries are getting more expensive, it's that the dollar in your wallet is getting weaker. It's not about prices going up, it's about your money being devalued.
So, if the problem, at least according to this viewpoint, really kicked off in 1971, well, the source material also points to what it sees as a solution. And it's a solution that isn't written by politicians, it's written in code.
This is where Bitcoin comes into the picture. The argument goes that Bitcoin isn't just some tech experiment or a speculative asset. It was designed from the ground up as a direct answer to what happened in 1971. It was built to be the exact opposite.
And you can see the contrast right here. On one side, you have the fiat system that's been in place since '71. Its supply, potentially infinite. The rules, they're set by politicians, and they can change. On the other side, you have the Bitcoin system. Its supply, it's absolutely finite, totally scarce. And the rules, they aren't set by people at all. They're set in stone by math and code that anyone can see.
And that brings us to the magic number, 21 million. That's it. There will never, ever be more than 21 million Bitcoin, period. No committee can vote to create more. No one can just fire up a printer. That absolute scarcity is hardwired into the system, kind of like a digital version of the gold anchor we used to have.
So what this all leads to, according to the source, is a huge choice. A choice we're all facing right now between two completely different ways of thinking about money.
So let's just run through the whole argument one more time. The idea is, 1971 broke the financial world. It created a system where money has no limits, and that caused the gap between how hard we work and what we earn. Bitcoin then is presented as the antidote, a return to predictable scarcity. And that leaves us with a choice between these two systems.
And that really is the final question, isn't it? If you buy into this idea that the financial world truly did break back in 1971, could the answer to fixing it really be written in code?